The Red Raiders stay in fuego on the recruiting trail, landing a top 20 JUCO prospect and a 3-star wide receiver in the 2025 class. Who are they and what can Texas Tech expect from them? We'll discuss that and more in today's Texas Tech recruiting update. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button and notification bell to stay in the know on Texas Tech football all year long. Not just what's going on the gridiron. No, we've got you covered for those future Red Raiders as well on the recruiting trail. So if you want to join one of the most engaging Texas Tech communities here on YouTube, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and, well, stay in the know instantly by hitting that notification bell. All right, let's jump into the first prospect that the Red Raiders landed a commitment for. It's not from 2024, it's from 2025, and you may recognize the last name a little bit. We'll get to it here in just a second. The Red Raiders on Tuesday, November 21st, 2023, landed the commitment of Leyton Stone, a 2025 Frenship High School 3-star wide receiver there in Wolford, right? A West Texas kid and son of Texas Tech soccer coach Tom Stone. How about that? The Texas Tech connection. Leighton stands 6'2", 170, and during his junior season, these stats are not made up. These stats are absolutely sick. I don't care if you're playing against air, okay? He caught 94 passes for just under 1,700 yards and 23 touchdowns for the Tigers. Again, 94 catches, just under 1,700 yards and 23 touchdown catches there for Frenship, right? He also had offers from Arizona, Baylor, and Texas State. And let's look at some of his tape real quick because I've got a couple of highlights here that really stand out for Leighton. This is really what he's good at. You see him at the bottom of the screen circled right there. Look how he just goes up and absolutely mosses a kid. Are we serious right now? We serious? Come on, Leighton. Kid has a family right there. My goodness, he just goes up and get it, has the body control to get his feet down as well. Tutty. Look at the top of the screen right here. You got single high. It's man. That's not a good idea right here. They do have that safety over the top. Doesn't matter. Safety bit on the over route, and then he just makes an athletic play and outraces his defender and beats him by a good 7-8 yards into the end zone. Phenomenal right here. One more play before we get into more about him real quick and what I think Texas Tech can expect. Beats guys right here on a screen, and then he houses it. I mean, look at this. Just unbelievable type skills for a guy that's 6'2", right? That's the thing that stands out to me, right? He's 6'2", he's athletic, he can go up, and he has the body control and really just the hand-eye coordination to go up and moss guys, right? Do I expect him to come in and potentially be a Micah Hudson? No, I don't think anybody should. But this is the kind of wide receiver you want on the outside. Every time I was watching him, I just couldn't help but think of former Texas Tech wide receivers in terms of how they were a little bit lengthy, athletic, and the guy that really he reminds me of, and again, if he lives up to this is phenomenal. He has some Eric Izakama in him, right? And that's a really, really good comparison in the sense of if he lives up to that, Texas Tech got a win right there. And I'll say this too. He's a really solid ad. And after watching the tape, I would not be surprised if he adds his 4-star during his senior season. Again, the stats he put up as a junior, 94 catches, just under 1,700 total yards receiving, and then 23 touchdowns, right? Again, I don't care if you're playing air. That's really, really good. Now, he joins a pretty solid 2025 class already for the Red Raiders in the top 30 on a lot of sites. I want to hear from you guys, though. It's early on. I know 2024 hasn't even signed, but where do you think the 2025 Texas Tech football recruiting class will finish nationally? Top what? Just leave me a number down in the comments below where you think the 2025 class will rank when it's all said and done for the Red Raiders. All right, let's talk about a massive commitment for the Red Raiders, and that's just literally, my goodness. Texas Tech landed the 16th best JUCO player in the class of 2024 in Danny Saili, okay? And when I say massive, I mean massive, okay? He's 6'2", 335 pounds. Massive dude. And for those that are wondering, early signing period for football, right, is December 20th. So you're going to see a lot of those 2024 guys get on campus. They're relatively quick, and that's why it's interesting to see when the bowl game is for Texas Tech in terms of when is signing day, when does the bowl happen, this, that, and the other, right? But Saili is part of it. He originally committed actually to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma fans were really excited about him because, well, you should be. We'll look at him here in just a second in terms of what he brings to the table just from a disruptive standpoint, right? But he visited Texas Tech for the UCF game. He has 13 total offers from schools, including Oklahoma. As I mentioned, he was committed there. Arizona, Miami, Maryland, and NC State. He's a vital commit, and we'll talk about this a little bit more here in just a second. In my opinion, for the sheer standpoint of you're not going to replace Jalen Hutchings and you're not going to replace Tony Bradford, but Saili definitely helps a little bit, right? You get a 6'2", 355-pound guy that has played both on the outside in terms of a defensive end. Yes, you heard me right. He has played some D-end at Hutchinson Community College, right? And he is a Topeka, Kansas native, so he stayed up there in Kansas to play JUCO ball and will now head south to the 806. But he's a guy that I could see as an instant contributor for the Red Raiders. In fact, let's look at some of his tape real quick. This is from his midseason, so you'll see where he's at right away. You see the arrow. I'm sure you see the running back on the ground now just getting blasted by a 355-pound guy. That's the thing, is he's athletic enough to disrupt the run game from the standpoint of not just creating the wall, but actually getting to the point of attack where the running back is. There he sets the edge and makes a clear lane for his linebacker to go through. He does the same thing here, and then he ends up still getting the tackle, right? He's a guy that's uber athletic, knows how to use his hands and leverage really well. Get under those guys on the offensive line and just use his absolute power and strength to send them back, right? I get this is JUCO ball, but look what he does. He gets off a double block right here on the offensive line and still makes the tackle. I mean, just phenomenal stuff, if you ask me. One more highlight right here before we get back to some of the analysis, and then boom, gets his guy, and then he goes right into it. Right? He's one of those dudes that, again, I'm not expecting him to be Tony Bradford or Jalen Hutchings. None of you should. But he's a guy that is going to play early and often for Texas Tech next year on that D-line as they transition some new guys in there because, well, again, Tony Bradford has been there for what seems like forever. Same with Jalen Hutchings, right? So you're going to have to replace those guys with guys that, in terms of not going in there and replacing them with one individual player, but this is going to be a group effort. And Saili is a guy that I really like. Again, you saw it on the highlights there. He's super agile for his size, has really good feet, quick first step off the line. Again, 355 people. And he's agile. He's lined up, as I mentioned, both on the inside and outside at Hutchinson. And he understands rush lanes well. And for a guy his size, that cannot go understated. So I really like this commitment. Again, I don't think he's going to go out there and be an All-American or anything, but I do think he's a guy that Texas Tech desperately needed to help be part of that rotation to take over for guys like Bradford and Hutchings that will be leaving for Texas Tech. Because, again, you're not going to replace those two guys individually with just one singular guy. You're not. This is going to be a collective effort. You're going to see Duda play a lot more. Trace McAlpine as well. You're going to see, obviously, Saili now. You're going to see a lot more guys on that defensive line really rotate, especially in the interior without Bradford and Hutchings. And Saili is a guy that I'm really excited about because watching his film, truthfully, I didn't know much about him outside. He was an Oklahoma commit and he was on campus for UCF. But going back and watching the film, he does a lot of things well, and I think he's going to be a pivotal piece in that interior defensive line for a Tim DeRuyter defense. All right, one more time, couple of quick things. Predict where you think the 2025 Texas Tech recruiting class will end up nationally. Again, I know it's about, a year out, but just predict it for me. Where do you think it lands nationally? Top 30, top 25, whatever you think, let me know. And then one more time, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button and notification bell if you are excited about what Joey McGuire and crew are doing on the recruiting trail. And, well, if you just want more of these recruiting videos here on the channel, trying to put out, one every week, 10 days. You got 2 this week. Happy Thanksgiving, folks. That's what I got to say on that one. And truthfully, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you all for tuning into the channel. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend and really just celebrate and eat a ton of great food and enjoy some good football. And hey, hopefully a Red Raider win down in Austin. I am RC Maxfield here reminding you, if you want the latest breaking news, rumors on the recruiting trail and on the gridiron for Texas Tech football, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button to stay in the know right here on one of the most engaging Texas Tech communities on YouTube in the Back to 12 podcast channel.